Before I call the member for Mawson for her first speech to Parliament, I remind members that we, as a Parliament, will provide the member for Mawson with the normal courtesies and respect afforded to all new members on their first speech. And I will also acknowledge that we have a couple of special guests in the gallery. We will firstly acknowledge Senator Karen Grogan, a Senator for South Australia in the Federal Parliament, and also we will acknowledge the Honourable Leon Bignell, who is obviously the former member for Mawson, former Speaker, former Minister for many things in this place, as well as the Agent General for South Australia Designate. Welcome to Parliament, family and friends of the member for Mawson. I call the member for Mawson.
Thank you, Speaker. I would like to begin by acknowledging the Kaurna people as the traditional custodians of the land and waters of the Adelaide region and pay respect to their spiritual and cultural connection to country and extend that respect to all First Nations present today. I am the daughter of Jan and Ken Nelson, the youngest of 5 children who grew up in a small town called Pinaroo. My mum and dad met in Balaclava. Dad was working in the bank and mum on a holiday from Western Australia visiting her cousin. Mum returned to Perth for a short time, but soon made the trip back to South Australia, a permanent move, and our family story began. After spending time in Adelaide and Murray Bridge, Mum and Dad, with 4 kids in tow, found home in Pinaroo. After leaving the bank and adding baby Jennifer Ann Nelson to the family, named by my brother Kim, who came up with my name, as my initials spelt my mum's name, Jan. Mum and Dad purchased the local news agency and enjoyed many years in the Mallee town. Dad rolled the newspapers every morning and delivered them in darkness around town, tossing them out the window of his Holden station wagon with precision. He knew who wanted their paper on the lawn and who wanted it to land on the porch, and I don't think he ever missed. Well, that's what he tells us. Mum and Dad were really involved in the local community, whether it was football, Lions, local business, and much more. It was a great place to raise a family. Growing up in the township, I had the best of both worlds. Friends on farms, our news agency in the main street, right next door to the local deli, and a short walk to the town pool where I learnt to swim and spent many summer days and nights. I have great memories of the Pinaroo Main Street Christmas celebrations, and it was this experience at such a young age that inspired me to bring to my community in McLaren Vale the McLaren Vale Christmas pageant, and what has now become a wonderful celebration every year in our community, growing stronger every year thanks to the wonderful team at the McLaren Vale Business and Tourism Association. When Mum and Dad decided to relocate back to Adelaide for my sister and I to finish school, my brothers were already working and playing local football, so most weekends we made the trip back home, and we kept strong connections in the town of Pinaroo for many, many years. During my campaign, I had some lovely calls from locals who heard the news I was running for Parliament via the local Pinaroovians Facebook page, wishing me well, remembering my family with fond memories, and just good old country town support for one of their own. In Adelaide, I attended Ranella East Primary School and High School, where lifelong friends were made, not only with my classmates, but teachers too, who I cross paths with in my community. Alan Barry, who I have enjoyed regular chats with on community radio, and Peter Bergen, the principal of Ranella East Primary School. Mr. Bergen's here today, thank you. Mr. Bergen and I arrived at Ranella East around the same time, and we struck up an instant rapport over our love of football and in particular the mighty Redlegs. I couldn't wait to get to school on a Monday morning to talk about a win or a loss. Mr. Bergen also taught us to dance, the military two-step, to waltz and more. School musicals, led by our principal of course, rock and roll Stedfords, school sports and camps have provided me with so many great memories which really seem like only yesterday. It was great to bump into Mr. Bergen just last week at the Guy Sebastian concert. We hadn't seen each other in a while, and I told him what I was up to. We chatted about life and parted ways. A few minutes later, after settling into my seat, he sent me a message. "Congratulations on your selection as an MP. I'm so, so proud of your achievement. That was nice. Then a few minutes later, another message. I'm not being rude, but you always were a good talker. There was no offence taken, Mr. Bergen, and it's great to see that your memory is as sharp as ever. Your most recent request for a full upgrade at the Redlegs Stadium, we'll have to introduce you to the member for Dunstan. I have a huge admiration for school teachers. They are leaders in our community, and the impression that they leave is long-lasting, and I am so grateful for the wonderful teachers that I had over my school years. The world-leading ban on social media, implemented by the Malinauskas government, I hope will ease some of the pressures that children, teachers and families have to tackle, and it makes their work extend so far beyond the classroom. Increased sports vouchers to senior school, after-school activities, more access to OSH, school camps for all Year 7s, 3-year-old preschool and free public school. A testament to the commitment that this government has in providing our young people with the very best start possible. Entering the school gates, a reassuring smile from an SSO or words of encouragement from a teacher can be an absolute safe haven for some, whilst the school gates for others can bring fear and anxiety, and it is up to all of us to be aware of our behaviour, to lead by example at home, in our communities and workplaces. Kindness, respect and acting with good intention should be at the heart of all we do, and our younger generation deserve this from us all. A highlight of my school years was work experience, the opportunity to step out into the world and get a taste of what the working world looked like. For years I'd watched my mum and dad run their own business and also work for others. Never did I hear them complain about working or disliking their jobs, so I was really excited to enter this next chapter of my life. Work experience at Thomas Cook Travel, travelling to the city by bus with all the other commuters, tidying brochures, making cups of coffee and answering the phone. I loved every minute and signed up for another week the following year. Combining part-time work with school is something that most of us do in our teens, and I thoroughly enjoyed my time with my part-time jobs, whether it was in the local hairdressing salon, at Coles in lay-by, which is really showing my age, meeting new people, learning new skills, gaining confidence and a newfound freedom is what these part-time experiences gave me. Now my own children have followed in a similar path, all enjoying part-time work alongside their school and sport, and I'm extremely proud of them for the strong work ethics that they each possess at such young ages. Partway through Year 12, I was offered the opportunity to apply for a job in a small law firm, and I was keen to get to work but also wanted to complete my schooling. Applying and going through the interview process, I decided would be a good experience if nothing else. I then got the job and had to make a decision about working full-time or finishing school. With the guidance of my parents and a supportive teacher, I managed to do both, take the job, have schoolwork dropped off to her house, to complete and return, and I negotiated a few weeks off for my exams. Luckily, with the job only lasting 6 months, I was pleased with my decision to finish Year 12. My next job, which was part-time, allowed me the opportunity to do some volunteer work. Reading the local newspaper, I came across a family in Hallett Cove looking for support with Matthew, a 2-year-old boy with cerebral palsy. Increased physio and exercise would give Matthew the best chance of mobility in the future, and the family were looking for volunteers to help with his therapy. I had no experience, but I had time, and this blue-eyed, blonde, curly-headed little boy stole my heart, and I absolutely loved spending time with him and getting to know his family. An experience I'm always grateful for, and I know that I played a small part in making a difference in someone else's life. My next job was with Proud Australia Holidays, starting out as a reservations consultant for the Proud Mary, and over the next 10 years I undertook many different roles and was offered amazing opportunities. Bob and Sharon Ford, the owners of the business, instilled a work ethic in me that I have always carried with me. The business wasn't travelling so well when I started, and long-term staff left, unsure if the business would survive. I, on the other hand, had nothing to lose, and along with my workmate Natalie, 2 teenagers from opposite sides of Adelaide, we treated our job like we were running our own business. No idea was a silly one when it came to getting creative on the ways to fill the Proud Mary with passengers, and as the years went by, there was rarely a cruise that set sail from Murray Bridge with an empty bed. Bob taught us to work hard, placed a huge amount of confidence in me and rewarded us for our success. I will always be grateful for the time that I spent working with Bob and Sharon, feeling a part of their family and as part of a business. And as the business grew, I became part of a team of fantastic women who remain some of my closest friends today. My working journey then took me in another direction, going from working in a family business to a national print and distribution company. The years that I spent in the printing industry built my business and leadership skills. I learnt about customer service and how important that was to making other businesses thrive. Working with many characters who taught me a great deal, and I was able to transfer the experience I had gained into a new industry and a new chapter of my life that I enjoyed. Moving to McLaren Vale and welcoming my son Luke into the world in the early 2000s, I felt like I had come home, a great community that I have loved raising my family in. The McLaren Vale region is truly a special place, and I am proud to represent this part of the world. With our own Act of Parliament, the Character Preservation Act, I will work hard to uphold this important legislation and then ensure that our town boundaries and the agricultural lands are protected from urban sprawl, to ensure that our $850 million food, wine and tourism industry can grow and thrive in the future. In McLaren Vale, I volunteered at the Visitor Information Centre, worked part-time in cellar doors and have made lifelong friends volunteering with the Harvest Festival, the Bocce Club, sporting clubs, the McLaren Vale Business and Tourism Association and many, many years on school governing councils. A very dear friend of mine, Bronwyn Busbridge, introduced me to a role that was available at the Wollonga Farmers Market, and for more than 6 years I managed the market alongside wonderful work colleagues, Richard and Linda, and a dedicated board led by Pip Forrester, an absolute champion of food for McLaren Vale and South Australia. We won many awards, including being inducted into the South Australian Tourism Hall of Fame and held the title as Australia's Best Farmers Market. Awards aside, leading the market through the COVID pandemic, keeping the market open and thriving is something I am proud to have played a part in. One week in early March 2020, I purchased a bottle of hand sanitiser for our information stall. I purchased 3 bottles the next week and sticky taped them to the table because they were becoming a sought-after item. The next week, we spread the bustling market across the road and into the recreation grounds in Wollonga to allow for social distancing. 2 words we'd never really used alongside each other before. This would quickly become our new normal. While some households were hoarding toilet paper, I was running around buying up all the square readers from Officeworks, driving around to farms on the Fleurieu, setting up stall holders to accept electronic payments for the first time for many. And I promise I deleted all their passwords that they had to give me. The world was looking very different all of a sudden. Managing the market, I gained an even stronger sense of the importance of community. The hard-working farmers and producers who needed our support more than ever, and the shoppers who relished in the social connection that a weekly market would bring. It is a ritual for some to rise early, rain, hail or shine, and shop in the fresh air, and those shoppers were so grateful for the efforts made by my team, the volunteers and producers. During my time at the Farmers Market, I was given the opportunity to join the Fleurieu Future Leaders program, run by Charles and Janice Manning, inspiring leadership across the Fleurieu and now boasting an alumni of more than 200 leaders in the Fleurieu and Kangaroo Island communities. I've seen personalities develop, businesses created, and long-lasting friendships born from their selfless sharing of inspiring tools and leadership skills to make our communities richer. I still love shopping at the Farmers Market. It is a special thing to have in our community, and I hope to stay connected and to continue to play a role in the success of the market, its farmers and producers for what they bring for many years to come. I left the market to manage the elected office of Leon Bignell, who I knew through the McLaren Vale and market community. Not knowing a lot about politics, I took on this new role with my eyes wide open, and I've loved getting to know and assisting the broader Mawson community for the past 3 years. A special thanks to the awesome Mawson team, to Joe, Jess and Bridget for their heavy lifting over the past few months, and to the many advisors who provide such great support to elected officers, enabling us to make a difference for our communities. I hold all of these work and volunteering experiences very close. They have shaped me into the person that I am today. Being humble, honest and kind is free, and so many of my teachers, employers and colleagues have been just that, and I have learnt so much from them all, more than any book or degree could have taught me. I'm an employee that has always been grateful for the opportunities provided, for the flexibility afforded to me to duck out to a sports day or to make it to parent interviews. I'm also an employee that has always stayed back to get the job done and gone the extra mile. I'm also a mum that loves making lunch for her children, when they could make it themselves, who often ends up at the supermarket twice or even 3 times in a single day and leaves washing in the washing machine on a regular basis and needing to rewash it. My story is one of simple, everyday stuff, nothing remarkable, and I believe that I represent a large cohort of my electorate, hardworking, with a love for family and friends, a passionate South Australian that wants to do a good job. The people of Mawson I'm proud to represent, and I am so grateful they turned up to vote, even if it wasn't for me. To the people I met while door knocking in the lead up to the election, thank you for opening your doors, sorry for making your dogs bark or waking you for an afternoon nap. From basketball courts, aged care, potholes, a park and ride in Aldinga, community halls in the Algal Bloom, we discussed lots of issues and ideas, our hopes and dreams for the future, and I almost always walked away feeling so very grateful for where I call home and the positive outlook shared with me by my community. Mawson is 6,000 square kilometres from McLaren Vale to Cape Jervis, across to Kangaroo Island, and it's made up of wonderful people. Like Kath in McLaren Vale, who volunteers tirelessly at the local footy club and makes a mean vanilla slice. To my friend Victoria in Aldinga, who is raising 3 strong, smart and resilient women all on her own. Ian and Pete, my great mates who volunteer at the farmers market, along with countless others. Marty on Kangaroo Island, who wears more hats than I care to remember. And then there's Peter in Yankalilla, who is a champion for his local community. Whether it's showing up for Lions or CFS, he always stands up for his people. Volunteer clubs and services are often the heartbeat of our communities. View clubs, progress associations, Probus clubs, men's groups and sporting clubs, they just don't exist without volunteers. The impact they often have is far greater than what the name of the group holds. They are places for social connection, learning and for keeping us safe. Just this weekend, I attended the Normanville Surf Lifesaving Club Awards Night. People of all ages recognised for their efforts and achievements. They feel part of something special and they enjoy what they do. With thousands of hours of service, 19 lives saved out of 65 along our coastal waters this summer alone. As a winter sport family, our summer weekends are spent relaxing and enjoying the beach, and I, like so many others, are grateful for the service of our surf lifesavers, keeping residents and many visitors safe. The CFS, SES, Salvation Army and many other volunteers I met during the recent Deep Creek fires who go above and beyond when disaster strikes. What does our community look like, or our world look like, without these volunteers? I hate to think. I look forward to getting to know many more of the volunteer groups in my community and will work hard to ensure that their voices are heard in this place, to connect with them and help them retain and encourage the next generation of volunteers who are so important to the fabric of our everyday life. I have so many people to thank that helped with my campaign. Leon Bignell, and thanks for being here today, our local member for 20 years and has become a great friend and a champion for our region. Jess, who often clocked up 10,000 steps before 9 a.m. Glenys and Kerrod from the Mawson sub-branch, along with Louis and Daniel. My now parliamentary colleagues, Kym, Nat, Blair, Katrine and Hilton. The SA Labor team, Hamish, Eamon, Sarah, Grace and Lucas. To Karen Grogan and Demi at the United Workers Union, thank you all for your amazing support. A special mention to the Young Labor team, many of whom I'd never met, but you showed up for me and supported my campaign. Your energy and passion for the Labor movement is inspiring and contagious. So many others who are my dear friends and family. Most had never been involved in a political campaign before, including Simon, Sue and Chris, Russell, Leanne, Karen, Nikki, my childhood besties, Donna and Tony, Hannah, Jane, John, Janine and Jules, and of course, Rafi, Tony and Rog and the Douglas family. To my Luke and Dylan, Brooke and Harper and Dylan, thank you for letterboxing and handing out on election day. You have always given your mum the space to work, volunteer and do things for others. And the way that you showed up for me with smiles on your faces. You couldn't have made me any prouder than I am today of the amazing young adults that you are. I have always loved watching you play football, Brookie watching you dance and play netball, and my wish for you all is that you continue to do the very best that you can at whatever it is you choose, and most importantly for you to be happy and know how much you are loved. Thank you to my fellow candidates in Mawson. With long days at pre-poll, chatting with the community we cherish and care so much about, it was great to get to know you all. To my community, please don't insist that I agree with you all of the time. Please continue to raise your issues and share your points of view with me. Know that I will always listen and advocate for you to the best of my ability. I do not take for granted the privilege of this position and the responsibility it carries. I am so proud of the work that electorate officers across our state do every day, serving our communities to navigate systems that have perhaps let them down, exhausted them or their loved ones, or perhaps just seemed too overwhelming to tackle. I stand for solving issues, helping to cultivate ideas and offering a compassionate and listening ear. So often I hear, thank you for listening, I appreciate you even getting back to me, and thank you for trying. I'm the person that when I don't have the answers, I'll go looking, asking questions, persisting, and that is what I plan to do over the next 4 years for my community. I will strive to provide the best advocacy that I can for the people of Mawson. Thank you.